Today I'm building a brand new bike. Look how sweet this thing looks. We got some profile cranks, profile stem, some brake stuff, TotalBMX getter shed bars, rock and roll sprocket, Sandstorm frame. Ooh, nice blackjack seat. These are some Odyssey forks. Fresh TotalBMX hubs, new spokes, new rims, everything. So I'm really pumped. And as you can see, my stitches are healing a little bit, but let's get started on building this beast up. First, I'm gonna start with all these little fun brake mounts and brake guides. Since they're removable, it's good to make sure to put on some good Loctite so they don't come loose when you're riding. Strip a bunch on that one. Put some more on the second one. Do the same for this little cable guide. For the gyro tabs. Got a TotalBMX bottom bracket. It's always good to put a little bit of grease in there. So I'm gonna have to do it the old fashioned way and just beat them in. That wasn't so bad. Got the bearings in there. Since we put the bottom bracket in, might as well put the new cranks on. Fresh cranks are a little tricky putting on as well. It's important to put on a nice coat of anti-seize along your spindle, just so later on down the road they don't get locked together. Brand new cranks are always a little bit tricky, but luckily Profile comes with one of these crank arm tools. Big old wrench. And then this crank arm's on forever. Because they're the tie bolts, I like to throw on the anti-seize on here as well. Just because tie and chromoly, two different types of metals, that's when they lock up and seize. So it's important to use the anti-seize. So just how I like it. Just enough clearance. Now I like the feeling of tight cranks, but I don't like running my chain too tight. It's important not to put too much pressure on the bearings or they'll blow out. So I came up with this. It's actually an old skateboard wheel. So I like to use this as a little bushing to keep my cranks feeling tight. I have a spline drive sprocket. They are really hard to get on because of the 48 spline. So I think the best way is to take the little piece out, put this on the spindle first, and then the sprocket. Crank arm tool to put this little piece on too. Got the cranks on nice and tight. Boom. Might as well throw the fresh seat on. Make sure it's nice and straight. Get it to the right height I want. Looks good. I guess I'll throw on the forks next. So in order to do that, gotta open up this fresh TotalBMX headset. Oh yeah. And you know, gotta grease this bad boy up. Throw it on the forks. Move it up and down so it doesn't go anywhere. Put the dust cap on. Throw the detangler on first. Before I put the fresh stem on, I'm gonna have to grease all these bolts. Actually, I just remembered before I put my stem on and before I grease the bolts, I'm gonna hard brush all this excess paint off so my bars won't slip on the first day of riding. I don't know if you guys ever had an issue when your bars moved when you just landed a trick, but it's happened to me too many times. I actually built a fresh new bike one time, did a flip over this big box. As soon as I landed, my bar slipped back and I fell straight on my back. It was not fun. So now I make sure I clean off all the fresh paint. If you want your bike to last long with minimal issues, grease is the best way to do it. Now let's put these fresh getter shed bars on the stem.
Shit.
I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I put a bunch of grease inside my steer tube just in case down the road if I ever need grease with travels. I have some right in my steer tube. Good little secret. Handlebars are on. I'll just do the pedals next real quick. I got some gold VP Components pedals. I love these pedals and they're painted gold just for Dave Mira. Gotta do the anti-seize. Boom. Fresh gold pedals. I'm in love with this bike already. Now to the fun part, the brakes. Oh yeah, good start. Before I put the brake mounts on, slap a bit of grease on the post. Well, I got all the brake stuff on, but before I could adjust any of it or put it all together, I need my back wheel on first. So I'm gonna slide that on. Oh my gosh, this bike is gonna be sweet. Put this fresh new chain on. Find the right link to take apart. I hate this part. A lot of people just hate working on brakes, and that's why everyone rides brakeless nowadays. But honestly, it's not that bad. It just takes a little bit of patience. I'm gonna show you guys how I do it, and hopefully it helps you. So the first thing I do is I make sure all of my barrel adjusters are even. And this one, give it a little bit of room. I make sure the brake pads are flat against the rim. You do that by loosening this, holding it tightly against the rim until it's flat, and then tighten that. Once all the barrel adjusters are even, and my brake mounts do not have any tension on them, I didn't even touch the springs. I make sure the straddle cable is nice and tight. And once everything's all tight, now you adjust the springs. You don't want to give it too much tension. I try to make them equal as possible. And then you just loosen it up. Both of them actually need a little bit more tension. Then I come up top. Not even kidding, that was first try, and they feel kind of good. So now I just adjust the barrel adjusters once everything's put together, and then the brakes are golden. I'm pumped that worked out pretty easily. Let me throw this front wheel on. And then once the bike's completely together, I put it on the ground, and then I finalize and tighten everything. First, make sure the front end's straight. It's important to tighten your stem in a little pattern.
Like this. So everything's even.
Sound of good brakes. The bike is officially finished, so I'm gonna catch a little session in the backyard on the resi, do a few tricks, test out the bike, and then call it a day. Sun's going down. I rode it from the garage to back here and it already feels great. Also, if you saw the first episode, we were struggling with the long and low. Oh! But right after that video, I plowed it over. So now it's more of just a runway. A little bumpy because we haven't been back here in a while. Quick half-hour session and I'm already in love with my new bike. It feels so good. And I'm just grateful to have a nice little resi setup in my backyard to ride whenever I'm home. And I'm happy I'm able to ride with the stitches held up. But that's a wrap for this video. Fresh new bike's built. Got a quick little sesh on it. And my next video, I will be in California. So I'll see you guys then. See ya. The new bike and I have arrived California and we're headed to Mongoose Jam at Woodward West this weekend. Yeah.